We have a course of social and emotional learning, sir. And being an educator, I feel this is really very, very important for both like teachers and the students. And now I take this opportunity to start this program. I hope our mentor will definitely enlighten with their knowledge and experiences. In this session, we have Dr. Harish Shetty as our mentor. Uh, Dr. Harish Shetty is a psychiatrist with extensive experience in the field of mental health, especially in connection with disasters. He has worked at Latur, at Kandla after the cyclone for a year. He evaluated psychosocial processes at Jabalpur and Gujarat after the earthquake for human rights group. Dr. Shetty has worked extensively with the youth and worked with educational institutions every week. He has provided mental health interventions to seafarers after their release from clutches of Somalian pirates. He is also the governing body member of National Testing Agency appointed by the Government of India. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of Makanlal Chaturvedi University and Atal, and I request you to address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Before Dr. Shetty welcomes, I would like to welcome the chairperson of this session, who is Dr. P. Shashikala ji. She is the Dean Academic of the University, Makanlal Chaturvedi University. I am Dr. Chaitanya Agrawal. I am Head of Computer Science Department and Dean of Students Welfare. Just a single sentence or welcome note from the chairperson would be appreciated. Dr. Shashikala, please. And then we would hand over to Professor Shetty, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Professor Sikhi Agrawal, sir, who's also the FDP coordinator and the one who had conceived this faculty development program, which is the need of the hour. So thank you again for this opportunity, and we representing the university, we welcome Dr. Harish Shetty, and we are awaiting to hear from him. And thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now the floor is yours, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Urvashi ji, for introducing me so generously. When you listen to introductions, you feel better about yourself. And thank you, Shashikala ji, Yella Sugam, and thank you for chairing the session so beautifully. And thank you, Chaitanya ji, for all the inputs you have been giving periodically, and this video will be shared with thousands of people, and I promise you that, and all your videos too. Well, when I start with talking about emotional wealth and emotional equity, I first pay my obeisance to two great scientists on the earth, Patanjali and Gautam Buddha. They were two scientists. They were not only philosophers and probably worshipped by many, they are scientists. I'll tell you why they are scientists. Patanjali gave us yoga, which is timeless, universal, and a gift of science. And remember, I'm not saying this, the world is saying this. There are enough studies across the world to say that a yoga brings the mind and the body in alignment. Yoga helps individual organs. Yoga helps consciousness and understanding the unconscious. And the biggest gift to mankind is yoga. Gautam Buddha gave us vipassana or mindfulness, and which has been patented by many people across the world. But vipassana is free of cost, whereas mindfulness you need to pay and learn. His experiences under the Bodh tree, learned it, and he shared it with the world. And that is the most beautiful thing which happened. Well, when I start this, I first share one of my beliefs, which is the country, India, is run by teachers, mothers, and constables on the street. And with this, I start with saying that mental health is about attaining equanimity. It's about attaining samanta. It's about bringing in alignment of the self with the cosmos. Ultimately, alignment is health. Non-alignment is ill health. And that is something we need to understand. And across the next 45 minutes or 1 hour, before you ask all your questions very openly and very freely, I'm going to share what is emotional equity and emotional wealth. Well, alignment of mind and body is mental health, which means if the mind and the body orchestra is aligned, there's music. But if the orchestra is disaligned, there is noise. So remember, any amount of exercise alone will not work if the mind also focuses on alignment of the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, alignment of the mind and the body, because in the mind and the body, they constantly are in conversation. And that is so important for us, very, very important for us. And maybe we get into non-alignment many a times, but it's perfectly all right as long as we're aligned most of the times. Now, what is emotional wealth? Emotional wealth is the amount of emotional energy you need to transact within yourself and with the world around. And when I say within yourself, I mean that the mind and the body talk to each other. The brain talks to you all the time. You talk to the brain all the time. And building emotional wealth is like building financial wealth. And why should we build emotional wealth? We should build emotional wealth because in the 21st century, the rapid pace of globalization, the rapid pace of change, what is depleted is emotional energy. And when teachers come back home, they don't have any energy to talk to their families, to talk to their children. And so many of them come and tell me that either they lock themselves in the room or they wander aimlessly for some time, or they do a lot of other things to feel good and to feel better. So when we talk about emotional equity, which means that we are equitable to everybody. And when I say equitable to everybody, I mean no human being is equitable to all. 19 piece ka to farak hota hi hai. Even in the family, we sometimes like the elder child or the younger child more than the others. Even if you deny, you will always say, "Chutwa hai, usko thoda khana denge jada." And it's so important for us to understand that by nature, human beings differentiate, but by attitude, they should not discriminate. Again, I repeat, by nature, human beings differentiate, but by attitude, human beings should not discriminate. So ask all teachers in exercises, write down the names of all the children in your class. If you're teaching one subject in one class or whatever. And when they write down all the names, they miss out on a few names. And I tell them, go back to the class and look who these guys are. So when you're in a class or when you're in a casual conversation, equity, building equity is an ongoing exercise. It does not happen automatically. Well, gods have taught us to say we love all children. No, we don't love all children. We love the children born through us, and we can try to love all other children in our classroom. Which means what? Which means that all of us have likes and dislikes, and being aware of that helps us to really move across the entire class. There's another exercise which I tell all teachers that every day talk to two kids in your class, and how as you leave the class, ask them to walk along for a few minutes and ask them, how are you? And just pat them on the shoulder. Especially men can pat only the boy's shoulder, whereas a female teacher can pat the boys and the girl's shoulder. When you do that, sometimes when I share this exercise, teachers convert it into therapy. They say, "Chalo, roll number 3 or 4, kal aap tayar hai na? Tomorrow you be prepared. I want to do some amount of touch therapy." It's not that. It's subtle. It's subtle, and then that also helps you to build emotional equity. Helping the most difficult child in the class, help you to build emotional equity. And being firm with the child who's really, really disturbing the class also helps build emotional equity. So in a world which is being divided by forces inimical to peace, Our job is to reverse it by building emotional equity inside the class. So as I said, this man is a bundle of thoughts, feelings, sensations, and I did not say this. Guess who said this? Anybody can unmute and share if they are allowed to unmute. If they're not, then I'll go ahead. Urvashi, you need to tell me if they can unmute and tell me who said this. Man is a bundle of thoughts, feelings, sensations, and behavior.
Anisal, can we unmute the participants?
And just for a few minutes, for the next 5 minutes. And anybody can answer this. Who said man is a bundle of thoughts, feelings, sensations, and behavior? Anybody can put their hand up and unmute and answer. किसी को पता है तो बता दीजिए. बहुत लोगों ने कहा होगा, but there must be somebody who is important. Must have said, man is a bundle of thoughts, feelings, sensations, and behavior. Anybody can take a plunge. Every class has those few guys who always answer questions. They put their hands up all the time. And there are guys in the middle who make fun of those who answer questions. And then you have guys in the last, they say it hardly matters who said this, and it's perfectly all right. You know, in a classroom, the guys on the first row are those good morning teachers. And in the middle row, there are those who say hi teacher, hi sir. And the last rows, they say who teacher, who sir. Hame pata nahi. There are different types of. Anybody can say, I will stop my sharing and you can answer that if I can see your faces.
Anybody if knows the answer can unmute himself or herself and answer the question. You are allowed now to unmute yourself.
And always happens in a classroom. Pehle tum. हमें रिस्क नहीं लेना है. हम टीचर्स है. हमारा कोई 7th पे अभी कमीशन चल रहा है, 8th पे आने वाला नहीं है. Yes. Who's that? I hear somebody's voice. Anyway, I'll go ahead and I am perfectly all right if you don't answer, but we'll talk when we answer.
Sir, David, sir.
Who's David?
Author David. See, recently I have gone through the status, one of my friend's status. So it was related with this man is a bundle of something like that. No, David, I don't remember the surname of author.
Anandi khara sel pan ha ek agdi khara nahi.
Okay, sir.
It was Gautam Buddha himself.
Okay.
Thank you. So thank you for answering, Anandi. I really appreciate that you took the risk of answering, and I like students who put their hands up and answer. Thank you, Anandi, for bringing in cheer. Now, allow me to ask you another question. Please unmute everybody. Please unmute everybody if I'm allowed to. Ms. Parmar, Urvashitai.
Please, sir, they are allowed to unmute. They can unmute.
Unmute karjo, Badda ne unmute karjo. So, my dear friends, I'll ask you another question. Whenever I enter my college, I teach. Apart from being a doctor, I teach across different universities. And I always say that as you enter the college, you should first smile at the security guard. He's the first person inside, and then if you can really go across and smile to people around. Though we are not robots, we may not be able to smile every day. There could be bad days. So I'll give you a fill in the blank. Smile is a sign of dash. Kalyani ji, smile is a sign of dash. Answer this.
Happiness.
Happiness. What else? Anybody else? Anybody?
Excuse me, sir. Your voice is not audible sometimes. Some disturbance.
Atta, everything. Atta, now it is audible.
Yes, it's audible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Smile is a sign of dash.
Joy.
Joy.
Happiness.
What else?
Pleasure.
What else? The Debashish. Sanyal. What else? Pardon, appreciation. Greetings.
Gratitude.
Beautiful. What else? All of you are right.
Their gesture and their postures.
gesture and pushes. Very nice, very nice. All of you are right. But आज का प्रमुख वक्ता है डॉक्टर हरीश शेट्टी. तो हम जो कहेंगे वहां से लाइन शुरू होगा. Well, all of you are right, but I would like to say that smile is a sign of respect. You are, you know what? You can never choose your parents or your colleagues in your college. You can only choose your in-laws and even change them if you want. So when you enter a college, you have not chosen your colleagues. They are all there because they have been chosen by the institute, and you spend more time all the time you are there during your teaching profession for 40 years. You'll find that you spend more time with your colleagues. So what is the most important attitude for a teacher to good mental health? Respect. And respect is not about awe. It's not about fear. Arey, we have to respect this man, otherwise we'll not give any promotion. It's not about awe. He's very, very learned. No. It's about accepting the person as your colleague as he is. You may not like the way he drinks his coffee. You may be making noise. You may not like his language. You may not like her face. You may not like the way she talks in the meeting. But the point is respecting and accepting your colleagues exactly as it is one of the most powerful attitudes for good mental health. And that is so important. So I'll tell you, ma'am, my answer to that one line is respect is a sign of, smile is a sign of respect. I may not love you. I may not be fond of you. I may not agree with so many views about you, about Modi ji, Rahul Gandhi ji, or about anything. But I accept you as my colleague and I need to work with you. And that is one of the most important part. Now, mental health is all about thoughts, feelings, sensations, and behavior. Managing feelings ka matlab hai being aware of your feelings. Being aware. I am aware of what is happening inside you, because the journey outside is about the visiting card. Journey inside is about yourself. And both the journeys are equally important. And that is something which I would like to start. Let's start with this slide. My God, all the boys and the girls, I can see them smiling and laughing, looking at the right side of the slide. My God, I never knew that these guys they love Black Dog whiskey. My God, Anandi ben asaka manta to me. How is it that you like the right side? Now, let me share this. A very important aspect of mental health. Black Dog is a whiskey. No, I'm not asking you to see it or even touch it. But Black Dog is a term which Winston Churchill gave to his depression. And WHO has come up with a movie, 4-minute movie, 4 minute. I had a black dog, his name was depression. And one of the most important statements in this movie is exercise can beat mild depression. Can you believe that? Exercise can beat mild depression. So pharmaceutical companies will not really tell you. Imagine in your college you had a very difficult meeting. All you have to said was not accepted by the committee or the chairman of the committee. You know, in colleges there are hundreds of committees. I don't know why you guys have hundreds of committees. My God, it's more. I feel chatajat kaam karna chahiye, crisp kaam karna, but committee pe committee. And then you feel very angry that your views were not really accepted, and you feel very troubled when you come home. Run for 5 kilometers, 1 kilometer walk or exercise, sab dissolve ho jata. Exercise can dissolve fears, tears, and anger. And exercise is one of the free methods to really break stress. And this, I promise me every participant here that you will go back and watch this 4-minute movie on the YouTube by the World Health Organization. My dear friends, anger is epitomized in the globalized world. On the roads, you find, even if your scooter touches somebody's car, or somebody's car goes very close to the man, you fling abuses. And anger is epitomized in the 21st century. So much violence across, inside the families, outside the families. Are you aware that during the first lockdown, the National Commission for Women got double the calls of domestic violence than before. And it's a true thing. There's violence on the streets. People kill each other for a very small provocation. Why? Because globalization has caused disconnection. We sleep late, get up early, we exercise less, we eat at the wrong times. So the entire orchestra here has gone wrong. And when the orchestra goes wrong, certain emotions explode. But anger is a normal emotion. Aggression and humiliation is a negative state. I still remember this teacher who said that this 21-year-old boy has been disturbing my class all the time. I'm so angry. They asked him to get out of the class. And on the online, I removed him completely. I didn't allow him to enter. And I said a lot of wrong things to him. Tumhare sanskar nahi hai. India, no, we attack the sanskar. Unfortunately, he may have had great parents. We don't know, but when we attack the sanskar, you attack the ancestors. Don't do that ever. And then she said, sir, is it wrong when a person disturbs the class, I have to do something? I said, you have to do something. I agree with you. Then I said, you have to do something to protect the rights of other children, that they have a right to learn. You have to do something because you have to protect the mental health of other children. You're right. But remember one thing, there is a way to express your anger. And anger is normal. Aggression and humiliation is not normal. It is abnormal. Anger is a normal emotion. Aggression and humiliation is an abnormal state. When you're very irritable, it's not anger, it's anger in motion. Listen to your anger, and you're very troubled by a student in the class. I would say, call him for a private talk and find out if there is anything behind the behavior. I still remember one boy, he was disturbing in a law class, and nobody knew what to do. And I told the teacher, after the class is over in the evening, just pick up the phone and just give him a call. And when he gave him a call, he found that the boy's father passed away a few days before. In many other instances, remember, behind the behavior is a story, and behind the story, there are many stories. So sometimes anger is not because of nature. Anger is not because of motive. When somebody tries to disturb a class, it's not motive. It's not nature. It's not that I want to harass this teacher. It's maybe because there's a story behind, and behind the story there could be many other stories. So sometimes picking up the phone and talking to the boy or the girl individually beyond your class, and for which you will not get any raise in the 7th pay commission. Remember that. And you may not get any appreciation either. You may, some of your principals might say, "Aapka kya kaam hai? Kaam to kaam. Ye sab aapko nahi karna hai." But when you do that, you'll find that you will touch somebody's soul, you'll touch somebody's heart. Now, some of our guys in India, they say, "I don't get angry. We do meditation. Amala ke wahi raget nahi. Hame kabhi gussa nahi aati hai. Kovam varlay, no kovam varlay." No. We don't shout at all in our family. All of them must be having big medical files. So sometimes when you do not recognize your anger and when you do not listen to your anger, it gets converted into resentment. Resentment, yani, I drink a cup of poison and expect you to die. When I see him, my blood pressure goes low. I can't stand the sight of this man or this woman. Nothing happens to him. He's having coffee, she's having coffee, but you feel very troubled. It could be a mother-in-law, it could be a sister-in-law, it could be a brother, it could be a father, it could be a teacher, it could be a HOD, it could be an assistant professor. So understand that if you block the anger, resentment, because emotions undergo chemical reactions. And if you block your resentment, it gets converted into hostility. Hostility, khunnas. मैं नहीं छोड़ूंगा उसे, मेरा भी दिन आएगा, मेरा दिन आएगा, अपना टाइम आएगा. No. And never like that. And this hostility can kill. It can increase calcium in your heart vessels. It can stop your heart from beating suddenly. And it can change your entire personality into somebody being very open, being able to listen and also being able to understand different perspectives. And if you block hostility, then hate. And when you have hate, remember, everything else happens. So listen to your anger. And sometimes if you're very angry on certain days, and if you are not able to experience peace, it may be because you have not slept well for a long time. It may be because your exercise has stopped. It may be because your dietary habits have changed. It may be because some story in your family or a story in your college, or it may be also because of certain hormones which keep on changing. So for that, you need to really seek help. So anger epitomizes disconnection. Disconnection is a cause, is basically adverse effects of globalization. Which means what? Which means gone are the days when the number of people in the funerals were many. Now you know about the death of somebody through a notice board or a WhatsApp. Gone are the days when you were in touch with everybody else very often. But now it's so difficult to keep in touch because globalization does not allow you to keep in touch with people. And one of the most important interventions here is reconnection. Reconnect to break the disconnection. Disconnection is worse than HIV, and that is one of the most dangerous adverse reactions of globalization, which sends your mind for a toss. Now, let me say this. There are some great teachers. हम अपनी बातें किसी को भी नहीं बताते हैं. हमारा दुख हो या हमारा सुख, हमारी तकलीफें हो या हमारी लफड़े. I'll translate this for everybody who has difficulty in Hindi. I do not share any of my feelings with my friends or my family. I do not share my problems with my wife or my children. I do not share any of my problems with my teachers. I do not have a safe space where I can share anything with anybody. I lock my mind because मैं घर का प्रमुख हूँ. I am the eldest in the family. I lock myself. Remember one thing, my dear friends, as I said, mind and the body talk to each other. And if you really want to have good mental health, you need to have some people with whom you judge, with whom you judge, and who are not judgmental, and with whom you can trust and talk. So all of us need a safe space, and a safe space is like the net under the rope of a trapeze artist who walks on that rope across, and when he falls, there's a net there which holds him and protects him. So this is a sentence that has to be etched in your mind so that you can share it with your friends, your teachers, and your students. When you come to hate, as I said beautifully, that anger can end in hate. An intense hate anywhere interferes with love everywhere. Which means what? Which means that if you hate your prime minister, you can't love your country. If you hate your spouse, you can't love your children. If you hate your HOD, you can't really love your subject. And that intense hate can interfere with love everywhere. That is very, very important for us to understand. So what is important? I can differ with my HOD. I can differ with my assistant professor. I can differ with my student. But if the difference of opinion is converted to hate, then there's a problem. An intense hate is like an ice cube stored in a fridge. And if you want to really work on it, don't do anything. Bring the ice cube back in room temperature on the table, it melts. Intense hate is like an ice cube in the fridge. Get it out on room temperature, it slowly starts melting. Very important for you to understand that concept for good mental health. I ask you all teachers, are your antennas open? America is doing well globally in different areas, in areas of science, and in so many areas. They could send a man to moon, and they could send a small satellite up to Mars, because they can manage the orchestra well, because their antennas are open for science. They don't bother who's sharing great information. Is it Harish Shetty, is it Dr. Chaitanya, Urvashi, or anybody else? For them, good science is acceptable. Likes and dislikes don't matter at all. India, there's a problem. If I like somebody, I listen to him. If I don't like somebody, I keep my minds locked. Opening our antennas is like respecting people around, so that your antennas are sharp and open to all good science, all good thoughts, all good insights. And that's a process we need to really go through. And I'll tell you, somebody asked me how to keep your antennas open. I said, do pranayam every day. It will dissolve your vikaras. There's no need to sit down and really talk it out. And therapy, talk it out. Therapy is important. But do pranayam. Do any form of meditation. Shambhavi, Mahamudra, Sudarshan Kriya, Tasbih, Rosary, kuch bhi karo yaar. But even if you don't believe in God or if you don't believe in any form of meditation, just sit down in silence for half an hour and watch all the thoughts and the feelings that really cross your mind. Great civilizations have open antennas. Progressive nations have open antennas. And non-progressive nations close their antennas unconsciously without they knowing it. Mind gold from every conversation. You never know. I have learned all my insights from my patients. Most of it, 99% of it. 1% from my teachers. My antennas are reasonably open to the world around. Yesterday, somebody said, "Aap hidayat de do unko." And I did not know the meaning of the word hidayat. I picked up the dictionary and I read what hidayat is. And then so I learned from different languages. Idioms from different languages are so beautiful. And even in science insights, one guy came and told me, Dr. Shetty, padhai aur pehlwani ki umar hoti hai, nikal gayi to gayi. And that stuck to my mind. So mind gold from every conversation. Teachers be less with the pen and more with the ears. Mental health is much better. Being less with the pen and more with the ears, mental health is very better. And my dear friends, I tell students and teachers, wisdom lies in casual conversations too. When you walk with your assistant professor, associate professor, or a student, or your uneducated mother, and if your antennas are open in casual chats, you learn a lot of insights. A lot of it. I learned all the stories of Mahabharata, Upakattas from my mother, who's just 8th standard. She knew all the stories. My school did not teach me Mahabharata, so it's extremely important for us to think this. And sometimes antennas are shut. वो junior है, वो मुझे क्या पढ़ा सकती है? I don't like her because she is irregular. She has no core knowledge. वो ऊपरी बात करती है. All the students are very fond of her because she is pretty or he is young. अरे यार, she is not PhD. How can I listen to her? Or she is pro Modi or anti Modi. And opening the antennas means opening the antennas to the cosmos. And that is so important. These are the common sentences which cross through the minds of teachers, which affect the mental health. Dost, dost na raha, pyar, pyar na raha. Well, I'm not talking about jealousy in this framework. I'm talking about jealousy in profession. My paper was not accepted. My Chudi did not really help me with the paper. I wrote the entire paper and she took all the credit. I did not get the promotion, but she got the promotion, or he got the promotion. Normal. In a college or a school, if a dean is young, you are in a great mess because he or she will remain in the chair for a very long time and you have no chance. Every college has one dean, every school has one principal. So you may not become the principal at all. And sometimes that really burns us. That really burns us from within. I still remember my assistant professor, when I was doing my MD psychiatry, going and sitting on the chair of the HOD just to find out how he or she feels on the chair. But she had a lot of interest to become the HOD in those days when she was assistant professor. And jealousy is so normal. But remember one thing, I was told by one principal, Jessie was 25 years ago, and she happens to be the principal of my son's school. And she said, Harish, there will be only one principal, but good work will never go unnoticed. I remember, my dear teachers, when you're in the market, suddenly somebody pats your back and says, ma'am, do you remember me? And all teachers lie there. All teachers lie, yeah, I think I remember you. You don't remember them. And all doctors also lie. And somebody says, when I was buying a pomfret fish, I was pressing the gills of the pomfret. Somebody tapped me and said, sir, do you remember me? I came to you in 2008. I didn't remember him. But the point is, this joy can never be replaced by 10th pay commission salaries. by 25th pay commission salaries. And even if you are not the dean of the college or need of the principal, good work will never go unnoticed. And that kick to your hypothalamus, that kick to your limbic system is so powerful, that everything else completely dissolves. So once when I was not chosen for a post in psychiatry, and when a guy who was actually chosen, I wrote his entire application, but he was chosen, he was not interested in the job. And I felt so jealous. And we all four of us who did not get the job went to have some coffee. And I still remember those days when we were having coffee. We were so jealous. Kuch to sale ne jhol kiya hai. Uski unchi pehchan hai. And he had nothing. He also did not know how he was chosen. Then at the end of the day, we felt that we should pick up the phone and talk to him. Humne pucha unse. We asked him, hey, what did you do here? You were not interested in the job. We wrote your application. You came in jeans. That too, that was torn. You did not wear a proper shoe. You did not wear a tie. He said, I don't know. So in life, there will be one job and three people. One will only get it. Two will not get it. And if you can really work that out by really doing better in your classroom, by creating an environment in the classroom and see to it that you teach in a manner that is so beautiful. The book should dance in the class. The page should dance on the book. And the word should dance on the page. And the classroom should be a trance state. A trance state in a classroom gives great mental health to all teachers. And that is so important. I still remember one of my teachers in MBBS saying, Harish, look at my notes. The sentence has not changed. Comma has not changed. The same. White shirt, white pen used to wear. And inside my mind I said, sir, you have not changed. You are teaching the same concept in the same way for 25 years. If you give a brinjal to 100 women, they will cook the brinjal in different ways, in different times, because a good teacher is a great chef. And a great chef is a healthy teacher. So I told him, sir, no, sir, this is not my teacher. And sometimes when you say manage your feelings, उदासीनता भी बहुत आती है, मायूसी आती है, and you feel extremely sad for different things. Probably your husband has passed away, your wife has passed away, your mother passed away, your father passed away. So somebody died in COVID. Probably you're sad due to a breakup, a divorce petition, a relationship. You're sad because I still remember a 48-year-old professor stopped talking to everybody in the teacher's room. And teacher's room is a very phenomenal place in some colleges. Meri kursi par koi baithna nahi chahiye. That's a bad teacher's room. Anybody should be able to sit in any chair. And a teacher who says, this is my reserved space, he or she will not change. He or she will remain in the same mold all her life. And a teacher who says, I'll sit in any chair, which I find is a teacher who's changing all the time. And so this teacher stopped talking. He did not acknowledge the hi of other teachers, good morning. And if there was a puss across the teacher's room, whispering campaign, everybody having their own opinion when they went to the dean or the principal. And he was a very great principal. He said, let's not talk behind the back. Let's call him. I'll call him personally and ask him, what is happening to you, sir? And this great principal, I still regard this principal as a great principal because he confronted the issue sensitively. It's like in Bombay, when you travel in a train at 6 o'clock, you'll find everybody abusing the boss and few of them going to the bar and abusing him more, but nobody confronts. And when this principal called the teacher and said, I see a change in you, sir. You're not the same. Is there something I can do to help you? And when he said that in a tone, in life, the words are not important. Leza is important. The tone is important. You can't say, no, I love you. I love you. The tone is important. In that tone, when he asked him, can I help you? And he started crying. This 48-year-old man started crying and he said, my son is in engineering. He did not attend college for 2 years, but he gave me false certificates of his passing the semesters, and he took my fees and did not pay the fees. And immediately the problem fell on the table. And the principal arranged for somebody to talk to the child. And he supported this teacher completely. He told him, sir, you go and leave for some time. Let's solve this problem. And when the son was talked to by somebody, a professional, he found out that the son was not interested in engineering at all. And then slowly, when they went back into the story, the son wanted to do something else. The principal sat down and arranged the son to join a different college of his choice, the subject of his choice. Things changed. So all of you, my dear teachers, are mental health soldiers. You are not just teachers. You are revolutionaries. In this era of mental health revolution, you are my mental health missionaries, my mental health soldiers. So sadness can be because of so many causes. And it's important to confront the person and not always have cognitive distortion, which means he is not talking to us. He is not smiling at us. He's now got an attitude. PhD को अप्लाई किया है, उसका हो गया है, वाइवा हो गया है, अभी साला वो डॉक्टर बनेगा, बहुत एटीट्यूड आया है. No, it's not that. Cognitive distortion is your interpretation of the event, which could be wrong, and that disturbs relationships. That really disturbs a lot of things around you, and it causes a lot of mental health pain. So what is very important is when somebody is behaving very differently than what you think he or she is, write down the different probable causes on a page, find out if it is so, go and confront the person and find out, yaar, mujhse itni dushmani kya hai? I really called you up. You left the WhatsApp group of the family also. you actually did not come to my nephew's marriage. What is it? And it could be only depression, not sadness. Sadness is a positive emotion. Depression is a negative state. And if you accept sadness and if you listen to sadness, you can also experience joy and you'll be able to love others. Those who block their sadness, remember, they behave like Amitabh Bachchan in Mohabbatein. Parampara, Pratishtha और अनुशासन इस गुरुकुल के 3 नियम है. And the face so stoic and so bland and so flat. Accept sadness as normal and you will be able to experience love and joy. And very, very important. Be aware of cognitive distortion all the time and you'll be all right. I am a little biased to the lady teachers. My dear friends, all the men here, please don't get upset with me. I'm a little biased because there's a difference between a male teacher and a female teacher. Male teacher sits in the drawing room and says, "Chai kabhi aayegi? Breakfast ka time hua hai." And the female teacher, largely, I'm not saying all, I'm not generalizing, largely, in spite of education, awareness, and empowerment, he or she wants to be the best mother, the best professor, the best daughter, the best daughter-in-law, and the best mother-in-law. अपने त्याग के घोड़े से उतर जाओ, अपने जिंदगी की मोमबत्ती दोनों बाजू से मत जलाओ. I am translate this in English. Get down the sacrificial horse and don't burn your candle from both sides. No need at all. Don't get consumed in your lifetime. And remember, be a manager, not a martyr. Extremely important to be a manager, not a martyr, to keep your mental health alive. Very, very important. And my dear friends, but there are some mothers who are teachers. As I said in the beginning, the country runs because of teachers, mothers, and constables on the street. There are 3 important aspects of a triangle, of a pyramid. And there are teachers who want to be perfect in the education, perfect in the lectures, but nothing wrong. It's very adaptable if you're really perfect. But consistency is more important than perfection. And they also want to become very perfect at home. एकदम perfect घर ऐसा होना कि display mode पे, living mode पे नहीं. And that is so abnormal. Imperfect home is a healthy abode. Imperfect kitchen is a happy house. Imperfect mother is a happy wife. An imperfect wife is a happy marriage. And the most perfect mothers cannot enjoy the vacation because they're packing their bags for 5 days. And when they go there, they're trying to, they get tired and exhausted. अरे छोड़ दो यार, थोड़ा कचरा रहा कहीं तो छोड़ दो. If there's one vessel which is not washed, let it be. But some perfect mothers, in spite of all the servants in the house, do all the work all over again. So perfection is important in your work. Consistency is more important than perfection for mental health. And imperfection is also very important in life to remain very normal. My dear friends, revival and revitalize. All of us have mood lifters and mood shifters, and we all evolve that across time. मुझे किसी ने पूछा, somebody asked me, Dr. Shetty, what do you do for yourself if you're down? And they ask me all the time. You know, it's a very famous sentence. You are teaching us mental health. Tum batao, tum kya karte ho? Tell us what you are doing. And that's a very famous sentence which I hear all the time. And I tell them, as a child, I've learned the love to sing songs in the bathroom. Now there's karaoke. It doesn't matter how my voice is. I am not Lata Mangeshkar or Muhammad Rafi, but I sing because I love to sing without reason. भैंस को डंडा क्यों मारा वो खेत में चारा करती थी, शम्मी कपूर. And I love it. I love to read across time, and I can sit with the book and get lost. I can just quietly sit and watch the moon without watching and these are things I have evolved. It could be different for different people. So all of us have mood lifters and mood shifters. Don't lose it. Many people come and tell me, I was painting 20 years ago. Abhi kisne tumko stop kiya hai? Abhi time hi nahi milta hai. Remember, those teachers who say they have no time, they are lost, because people who do 10 things can do the 11th thing also. Time is in your control. And when I said to a teacher, have 1 hour of power, which means what? I said, just do whatever you like in 1 hour and tell yourself that you're not available to anybody. But that in our family, mein ye sab nahi chalta. In our family, this is not allowed. I said, who decides the rules? You only have decided the rules. And so many teachers in our country cannot keep quiet and do nothing. They have to do something all the time. And when you want to do something all the time, you're mentally unhealthy. Doing nothing is also an intervention for good mental health. So my dear friends, look at your mood lifters and your mood shifters. Find out that you could bloom in spite of all the gloom. And a family which has lost 2 members in COVID asked me, we are very scared to go and enjoy. And we feel very guilty. What will the world tell us? I said, remember one thing, my dear friend. Small bouts of ecstasy is important during grief. There is no sin about it at all. We are not concerned about what the world says. कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना. But if we have to recover, we have to start little joys, even if you have lost some members in your family. Little ecstasies, little spikes of joy, very important. I still remember the day when I used to work at Latur. We organized a Manaswastha Shibir, and we were all somber because we did not want to crack jokes at all when they had suffered loss of 8,000 people. But the crowd started cracking jokes. So in grief and sadness also humor can exist, and that can be decided by the survivors. Spiritual ecstasy is something you would all know. My dear friends, mood also. I met a young man who was under the treatment for depression, a teacher, professor. He was doing reasonably well with all my help, but he was not doing well till his mother fell ill. And when his mother fell ill, he completely took care of his mother. He had meaning in life. And when he had meaning in life, mood improved. One of the most important aspects of lifting your mood is meaning in life. It could be anything. I could be working for stray dogs. I could be working for single men who are in trouble. I could be working for the mentally ill in an ashram. I could be going two hours in a week to teach orphans English. Any meaning in life is a mood lifter. Loving the nation, loving the world can also be a mood lifter, and that is something important. So, which means meaning in life is also a mood lifter. And when you have meaning in life, everything becomes small. I still know a lot of men and women who have lost their families to self-harm, that is suicide, are working for suicide prevention. I know of one man, Mr. Pogar. I'm taking his name because because it's not that he has not been, we work together and it's okay for him. Mr. Poddar lost his daughter at the age of 16. And he had psoriasis all around as a consequence of the grief which he was suffering. The day when he came out and started working to prevent depression in schools and colleges, the psoriasis went away. Meaning in life is a very powerful antidote against stress. Meaning in life is a very powerful mood lifter for people on this earth. And each one of us, we pick up one meaning in life. Teaching is also meaning in life. Somebody comes and asks me, when do you relax? I said, inside the classroom. Kitna maza aata hai, pata hai? I love to be in the classroom. And I love the joy of being with children. And if you ask me, why have I accepted the lecture? Only to enjoy. I will not say after the school I do this, afternoon. I love my class. And even if I take a long lecture, sometimes one of the days of the mental health day, I took seven lectures. Everybody is asking, tum thak nahi gaye kya? Maine kaha, teachers ke liye, there are two states. One is being exhausted and happy, or being bored and tired. Which one do you want to choose? I would say I was exhausted, but I was happy. I slept so well on that night. Not that I don't sleep otherwise. So being exhausted and happy, I still remember this story of a teacher. A young teacher entered an institute, and the principal was very excited. And she was also very excited too. And he gave her 3 or 4 lectures extra in a week. And when she sat in the teacher's room, there was sannata. Aapko kisne kaha? Who told you to accept that 3 or 4 lectures? Did you ask us? Did you ask us? Chane ke jhaad pe chadh gaye. Din ne kaha lo to tum yahan kahan? And she was confused. She said, I'm a young teacher. Young teachers, young doctors want to change the world. And when they get into the system, they become dead. And to keep yourself alive in the system is a skill which very few people have. And she was very unhappy. She came to me and said, what should I do? These are the guys who are saying, I said, every college has a mother-in-law who once a new teacher comes, he or she takes her or him in this abode. Tum jada yahan nachna mat. Jo karna hai karna. Do what you think is right. And if there's something extra, come and ask us. I will give you advice. That does not happen in your university. I completely agree, but happens all over the world. And then I asked her only one question. My dear teacher, are you exhausted and happy, or are you tired and bored? And she said, I'm exhausted and happy. The joy in the classroom is one of the most important joys, and it keeps me alive. And I told her, if you're exhausted and happy, do it. Don't bother about the world around you. Do what makes you feel good. Because a lot of teachers get jaded, even if they had great aspirations when they started, because they did not protect themselves from being jaded. And that is so important. So mind is made of steel. Is not made of iron or steel. It needs nourishment all the time. My dear friends, I need to show you some slides, some data, which is very, very important. And that is half of the people who end their lives by suicide have family problems and illness. So what is the job of a teacher in a class? A teacher is a storyteller. A good teacher is a storyteller. If you can't say, you can't. And each one of us can share stories. Sometimes in my workshop, those economics teachers, those maths teachers, they say, we cannot say stories. Or is a very big science. I said, no, there's no subject, no concept which cannot be converted into story, including Newton's laws of motion, including Pascal's law, including anything. My dear friends, you have to get close to your children by being not only a thought teacher. 35, 75%, 85% of the times you teach concepts, 15% of the times you teach life. And teachers who share stories of their lives are great teachers, age appropriate, anything which they're comfortable about. And when you share stories about your life, children come and share their stories. And if you can address family issues in a very subtle way, you can't change the family equation. Because in the college, in 6 hours, if the student experiences 6 things, number 1 is memory. Number 1 is learning. I can learn. Number 2 is memory. I can reproduce. Number 3 is joy. I enjoy the class. Number 4 is acceptance. My teacher accepts me. Number 5, I can make friends. And I've been able to make friends. Number 6, I get friends with whom I can play. And if these 6 things are taken care of, any family problem can be managed. And these 6 things are antidotes to issues of the family. Remember, my dear friends, a lot of things are happening in the country. 10% increase in suicides in 2020. One of the most important factors was COVID. And also illness is something which is so important. And also important to understand is the poor who commit suicide. It's the poor, family problems, and low education are 3 variables which cause self-harm in the country. So my dear friends, as I slowly stop and wait for your lovely questions, I would like to share a few symptoms which are very common and which are generally very ignored. Exhaustion can be a sign of depression. ये थक गया उसके पीछे पीछे जाकर, नहीं मिली वो, उसे नहीं मिली. But let us not look at this as a metaphor for you. Exhaustion means my hemoglobin is right, everything is good, promotion also happened, my shares also multiplied, but I still feel exhausted. That can be a sign of depression. Because though meaning in life can be a mood lifter, great mood lifter, yoga and vipassana is something you love and do, but in spite of everything, the mind can go for a toss. You can have fractured the mind, and exhaustion can be a sign of depression. Extremely important for you to then say, I've tried my best to maintain my equanimity, my samanta, I did everything, but things have gone wrong, which means there's something I need to look at, and that is depression. Depression is very cunning. It can come in many disguises. This was Ravan who came in the guise of a priest, of a sadhu, and made Sita cross the Lakshman Rekha, and that's the way he was kidnapped. So depression is also very cunning. It can come in many disguises. One of it is, I have pain all over the body. All reports are normal. The pain is vague. I believe that I've got cancer of the stomach. I've got pain in the stomach. Everything is normal. But the pain is here, perceived in the stomach. And these are signs, these are very unknown signs of depression. Depression is fracture of the mind. The physical fracture is visible, but the invisible fracture is not visible. Very important to understand that teachers also can suffer from depression. And you say, iska root cause kya hai? My dear friends, the rules of engineering don't apply to mental health. There may be no mool bhoot karan, mool bhi nahi, bhoot bhi nahi. Mind is like a fuse, it can go up without reason. And as of now, science does not know sometimes why, even if in the absence of a trigger, why does somebody get depression? We do not know. We do not know. And what is the most important thing for us to understand is, when it is so, then you need to take help immediately. Don't go by the moola bhuta karan. I am a professor, I got PhD. How can I get depression? Or if you can get liver disease, so you can get mind disease. No reason. 1 out of 7 Indians are mentally ill. I'm not saying this. Minister of Health and Welfare said it in 2019. 1 out of 7 Indians, it means 20 crore Indians are mentally ill. 79,000 people had tuberculosis in 2019, but 200 million, but 1.1 lakh 30,000 people died of suicides in 2019. 77 million have diabetes, but 200 million in India have mental illness. So it's very common, and if you really feel down and upset, don't wait. You could be PhD, you could be HOD, you could be Dean, you could be Vice Chancellor. Please seek help immediately. And break this myth. In COVID, 4 lakh plus people have died. And a lot of people say, Rona mat. I have so many families who stop the mother from crying when husband has passed away. Rone ki avashyakta nahi hai. Arey, what the hell? God is not stupid to give you tear glands. Is God stupid? Do you apologize when you laugh? So why do you apologize when you cry? Isn't it straight? Arey yaar, this is what I learned from a patient. This sentence from UP. साहब जो बह गया वो पानी है, जो रह गया वो जहर है. Because if you stop your tears, it gets converted into poison, will destroy you. Tears are liberating. Never, never, ever, ever, ever stop them. And it is so important for us to understand that tears are liberating. If men cry more, they will live much longer. But if they believe, and families that cries together heals together. So important. But many men in India, feudal families, they believe that मैं घर का पिलर हूँ, मैं चोरी हूँ, मुझे सबको संभालना है. अरे काय का चोरी है तुम? No building stands on many pillars. Building stands on many. No building stands on one pillar. Have you seen a building standing on one pillar? Don't say Qutub Minar and Eiffel Tower. You need many pillars to build a house, not one. Which means when I lost 2 people in my family due to COVID, I was crying like a little child. No issues at all, no shame at all. And when I cremated my aunt along with my nephew, we were both crying like little children. No issues at all. He was consoling me, I was consoling him. So no big pillar. In house there are big pillars, middle pillars, small pillars. Each one of them can console each other, and that is good mental health. Remaining stoic like Kader Khan. Not right. My father has been through so many difficulties. He can stand like a rock. Array, if he stands like a rock, it will crack. If he stands like flesh and blood, he will survive. So no person is immortal, and nobody is immune to grief and sadness. And we don't want anybody to be immune to grief and sadness. If a father cries, the children will not get affected. The children will say, "Ye HOD bhi hai, पर ये इंसान है, भगवान नहीं." I still remember this famous dialogue in a Hindi movie between an actress and an actor, Madhuri Dixit and somebody. I forget the name of the movie. And he says, husband says, "तुम पत्नी हो, पति बनने का कोशिश मत करो." And she says, "तुम पति हो, भगवान बनने का कोशिश मत करो." So don't play God. Maturity होएगा, दीन होएगा, तुम्हारा पास publication बहुत होएगा, तुम 1000 कॉन्फ्रेंस में लेक्चर दिया होगा, but तुम इंसान है. When you remember that you are a human being, your mental health is much better. But you try to replace God in his abode, your mental health will be bad. Even gods also weep. Jesus wept, Buddha wept, Parvati wept. They also weep. So remember, my dear friends, tears are liberating, and please use your handkerchiefs. When I ask men, why is your handkerchief big and the women's handkerchief small, they always say, after the women makes her handkerchief, that we give our handkerchief. All groups, from IAS officers down to, I ask this question to all groups, and I tell all the men, use your handkerchief for your own tears. You will live longer, you will live healthier. So my dear friends, as I stop, teach your children in your class to kill shame and seek help. In your families, create an environment where bad news can also be shared. When you create an environment for bad news to be shared, mental health of family improves. Teach your kids in your college that love has birth, growth, and death. It may not be eternal, and sometimes it can have rebirth. And if they ask you what is love, tell them, love is I want you, but I can live without you. That only means that I love myself before I love you. Teach them also that there are many guys worth living for and no guy is worth dying for. Never die for a guy. Teach them, and then you'll find your meaning in life is much better. Teach them that there are many exams worth living for and no exams worth dying for. Exams aate rahenge. My dear friends, as I started by paying obeisance to Patanjali, there are enough studies to say that yoga improves everything. And I close, I would like to give you my Panchamrit. 15 मिनट प्राणायाम, 1 घंटा चटाई डाल के योगा नहीं कर सकते हैं. And all colleges should have yoga as an activity for students. And if you say don't make yoga compulsory, but geography is compulsory, history is compulsory, language is compulsory, don't be carried away by the naysayers who have always been naysayers to destroy the foundation of the country. Yoga has got nothing to do with any religion. Nothing to do with any religion. Yoga is about breath. It's about health. And I've seen that when I visited colleges and schools, once a week I'm in a school or a college, those schools which have meditation or yoga as compulsory, those students at the age of 15 are much calmer than everybody else. Exercise, I've told you what exercise is. Diet, jaisa an vaisa man. There's a beautiful saying. And if you're less stressed, you eat properly. And if you eat properly, you're very less stressed. Don't play with your sleep. नींद से खिलवाड़ मत करो. नींद से खिलवाड़ करोगे तो भेजा पंगा लेगा, भेजा पलटवार करेगा. और नींद से खिलवाड़, if you play around with your sleep, remember the pancreas will go on strike and it will not give you insulin. The stomach will not give you enough enzymes to absorb the food. Your liver will not clean the body as fast as it should. And the calcium will go and settle down the heart vessels. My dear friends, lastly, it has been proved that compassion and kindness improves mental health. Even when students have been given videos of people who are compassionate and about acts of compassion, immunoglobulins in the body has seen to be improved. And that is something everybody knows. As I close, I would like to share, my dear friends, that time is not always the best healer. Kabhi intervention ki avashyakta hoti hai. You can't allow the student to drift and say, padega. Sometimes you have to intervene and see that he studies. You cannot say that if I'm depressed, I'll get well after some time. No, sometimes you need intervention and then you feel better. At this point of time, I stopped exactly at 11:42. And I did this intentionally to answer all their questions. And when I said, kill shame and seek help, ask a question, it was also meant prashna puche, and I learn from the questions. You don't learn from my answers. I learn from the question. And with this, I thank the university for inviting me. I thank all those who chased me, Dr. Parmar, Dr. Chaitanya Agarwal, the Vice Chancellor, my friend K.G. Suresh, and all other panelists in the past and today, and my friend also, Arti Gupta, who is going to talk after me. I thank each one of you for being here, participants for listening without throwing arrows, paper balls, and anything else. We would do that when we were small kids in college. And I would just say, my dear friends, the best tonic for mental health is creating a trance state in the class, where the book dances in the class, where the page dances on the book, and the words dance on the page. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. We are really enlightened with your knowledge. So there is a question from Mr. Dinesh Kumar. How can we maintain mental health all the time? How can we maintain mental health all the time? Suggest some mental relaxation tips.
You can't maintain mental health all the time because like the ragas of Hindustani to classical music, you feel sad without reason, you feel happy without reason, you feel angry without reason, and it goes up and down. Most of the times, if you're able to be in balance with yourself and in balance with outside, that's good mental health. But I'll tell you a few tips. In your college, when you're working, micro pranayam is a very good exercise. When you're waiting for somebody, just one. See, yoga is not about chatai and 1 hour all the time. You can do it in the train by holding the bar at the top. You can do outside the HOD's office, will ask to come and meet you, and you have 5 minutes, and you can do a micro pranayam. Inside your chamber, you can go walk up and down for some time and and not be on the chair. As you start your day, you can activate your hypothalamus, because life is all about hypothalamo, pituitary, adrenal axis. There's a stress axis. I did not use all these words. And you can start your day as you enter the campus, and physically there's a small gutter there. Throw all your close relatives, mother-in-law, father-in-law, wife, and enter this day and start the day with a good swing of your hand and a good smile to your security guard. When you smile at the lowest denominator according to the society and not according to me, your mood improves much faster, because the least educated smile more than the most educated. There's something about the visiting card that changes the demeanor of the person. And you enter the school or college, smile at everybody, and you will believe that I will not smile at him. Promotion mila. Smile at everybody. Smile at everybody. And when you smile, you activate your hypothalamus. And when that other person does, then he or she destroys his or her hypothalamus. So just keep smiling and walking in, you'll find. The third most important thing is between 2 lectures or 3 lectures, you can make a call to your family, to your house, and make a routine call, and don't give the wah thing. I did a great lecture. No, just ask क्या हो रहा है यार तुम्हारे ऑफिस में क्या हो रहा है हमारे ऑफिस में आजकल बॉस का मूड बहुत अच्छा है. And when you talk little things to your family, you feel good. And making a call to your kids from your office, all the mothers do. Don't ask for तुमने फ्रिज में खाना रखा, वो खाया है क्या, तुमने अपना होमवर्क किया है क्या, ये सब मत पूछो. आज तुम्हारी टीचर ने क्या किया, हमारे बॉस के बारे में बताता हूँ तुमको. When you talk about small things, you'll find that there's more joy than. And also walking inside the college at times when you're free is a good activity, not to supervise others, but just for an exercise. Sometimes when you walk on the alley of your college and just watch the students smiling, it's a great feeling. And you say, do this to all the students as you enter. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. We used to be scared of walking past the principal. If he's walking slow, we have to walk slow. Avido, sir, hi ma'am, hi ma'am. That's a great feeling. I think the youth of your college is your biggest stress buster. So you need to do little things, sir. Thank you, sir, for asking the question, Professor Dinesh from Palampur. And so you do little things. And I also train the judiciary at Bhopal, by the way, at the National Judicial Academy. And I also tell all judiciary not to sit, because they're on the dais all the time, and the chamber to sit, moving inside the chamber, cracking a joke with your staff, picking up the phone and speaking something to your best friend, and keeping in touch with your safe space. Your safe space is the place wherein you can be emotionally nude. Your visiting card hardly matters, and you know them for years, and they will not judge you. And being in touch with the safe space is so important, Mr. Dinesh, Professor Dinesh, to be. But micro pranayama.
Thank you, sir. There is a question from Mayank Saxena. Please tell us the characteristics of healthy competition and how to implement it in ourselves.
They say, I'm not sure about this, they say that Ika Singh just looked on his side and he came fourth. Or if he would have rushed ahead onto the rope, he would have been first. That's the story. I'm not too sure. But don't look across your shoulder. Keep on nishkam karma karte rehna yaar. Nishkam karma, paper publish karte rehna. Jitna उसे आज ये concept में अलग तरह से पढ़ाऊंगा. यही poetry को अलग तरह से पढ़ाऊंगा. And when you do the अलग तरह, you might fall, you might crash. You might crash. But if you crash once, you'll find something new also along with that. But we try to play safe all the time. I say पढ़ाऊंगा ये question ये answer, ये concept ये answer. जिंदगी पर ऐसे पढ़ाया मुझे कोई चांस नहीं लेना, then you will really collapse. So what is very important is that to do things at your best. Don't do things to overtake Dr. Sasikala or Dr. Urvashi. Do things at your best, and you'll find that things happen automatically. Nishkam karma is the best philosophy. Visiting card is an extension. It's not you. And good work never goes unnoticed. People remember great teachers. They don't remember the hierarchy of teachers. People remember great teachers. Even if a dean is teaching extremely well, he is remembered as a teacher. He is not, dean the bhai, apna dean bhai, ekdam mast aise thodi hota hai. Teacher, he taught this subject so beautifully. People remember great teachers. People remember teachers who have taught well and who have been very compassionate. These are the two qualities which I remember. तुम क्या हो, क्या थे, कैसे रिटायर हुए, कितना पेंशन मिला, कितना प्रोविडेंट फंड मिला, निष्काम कर्म. That I think is so beautiful.
Thank you so much, sir. Mind gold from every conversation. Wisdom lies in casual conversation too. Teachers are mental health soldiers. Consistency is more important than perfection for mental health. Mind is not made up of iron or steel. It's made up of neurons. Nourish it always. And tears are liberating. Never stop them. Thank you so much, sir, for this.
And if you have excessive tears, and if you have excessive tears, please take help. And I think Anandi has asked a question about Vipassana. Somebody has asked. I don't see the name, but
Anandi ji, if you want, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
I saw that question there. Anyway, I'll answer that. Well, Vipassana was actually learned by all the rishis who meditated both from in India, but Bhagwan Buddha, he made it accessible to the ordinary Indian, and his experience of Vipassana was preserved for more than 2,000 years in the land of Myanmar, the Burma, from where Satyanarayan Goenkaji learnt it, and he came to India and he spread the philosophy and the science of Vipassana across the world. It's a 10-day course and it's mindfulness. The Christian theological groups also go and practice Vipassana. There are many Muslim groups who go and practice Vipassana. Your lot of political leaders, CEOs, etc., go and practice Vipassana, and it makes you effective. Not good, it makes you effective. Being good is okay. Being effective is more important. And it is spread across so many countries. And believe me, it is free of cost. You can eat, practice 10 days and go, and you can pay as you want in the dabba. It is free of cost. And it has been studied scientifically by people across the globe. And it has been found to be useful. Mindfulness, Vipassana aims at equanimity, samanta, or mindfulness. I would request each one of you to go in the Municipal Corporation of Greater Bombay. Any employee is given a 10 days break to do the same.
Thank you so much, sir. And after such an holistic session on building emotional wealth and emotional equity, challenges for teachers, I think we all have received and got your Panchamrit, that is yoga, exercise, diet, sleep, and kindness. Thank you so much for gracing this event. And now moving ahead with our program today, we are having Dr. P. Shashikala as our session chair today. Dr. P. Shashikala is the Dean Academics, Professor, and Head of New Media Technology Department at Makhanlal Chaturvedi University. She is also authorized trainer for fact-checking, Chairman of University's Women's Cell, and UGC's Nodal Officer for the university. She is doctorate in computer science with 25 years of research and teaching experience. As a vibrant technologist, her passion for academic research and industry-relevant course development in the area of new media technology, with particular focus on data journalism, new media content design, and social media, are really notable. She is an active member in new media policy documentation, ICT curriculum designing and framing at national and state level. I welcome you, ma'am, for your kind address, Dr. P. Shashikala.
Madam, I have to leave. I'll watch your.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank
Sure,
you
sir.
for your kind.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Saab, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Thank you very much. You have been very kind to us to give your precious time, guidance, and your illuminated light. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, madam, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So, firstly, I would like to thank and my unlimited appreciation for the AICT Adult Faculty Development Program. Thanks to the patron, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor K.G. Sureshji, and also many thanks to the FDP Coordinator, Professor C.P. Agarwal, sir, and the session mentor, Dr. Harish Shetty, the session host, Dr. Urvashi Parmar, and all the participants who have joined this session pan-India. I think Agarwal sir had taken a lot of efforts to keep it in English so that the participants from all over the country will be able to get the content. And I think really it had worked out, sir. Your efforts had worked out. And the faculty development program on regaining effective creativity and peace of mind. Very beautifully, you have framed the title and the development program for a week, because the creativity which is already existing, it has to be regained. The peace of mind has to be regained. And I think you are the master, you are the right person to coordinate this faculty development program. And in this particular session on building emotional wealth and emotional equity, the challenges for teachers, really it is a challenge for teachers, at least in this COVID time. Very beautifully, our session mentor started the session with the definition for the smile, fill in the blanks for the smile. Smile is a sign of respect. I think now lifelong, none of us in this session will forget it. It is a sign of respect. Even I was just wondering that it is a sign of joy, happiness, pleasure, and very beautifully he defined it's a sign of respect. And yes, the best way to respect someone in front of us is to give a smile. Very, very beautiful thought. And also I was just trying to find out the video that the session mentor had mentioned, Black Dog, that has been developed by the World Health Organization on that exercise can beat mild depression. I think each one of the participants in this session, and even we will recommend this to our family members also to watch this short movie on Black Dog. I think that is again another wonderful information from the mentor. And again, he had given the best Panchamarth, as Dr. Urvashi said, he had given the Panchamarth for us on yoga, exercise, diet, sleep, and kindness. And the most best thing what I have noted down is time is not always the best healer. Even we have to make efforts to manage the things that has to be healed. And very nicely, he had given many other points, important points that we can follow within the classroom, how to handle students, how to handle ourselves, on peers, or then on family also. And as he said, yes, when we are inside the classroom, 85% of the time the students are getting concepts from us, but 15% they are learning the life lessons from us. So we have to put more efforts on these issues. I would like to add one point from Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi, that you can only stop the flow of thoughts by refusing to have any interest in it. So the more we take interest, things will worry us. So the best thing is to stop the flow of thoughts and refuse to have any interest on it. And very nicely, the 5-6 points he had given how to manage stress. I think all those things are very, very important. How to do micro pranayam, how to activate the hypothalamus by giving a smile, how to keep the pituitary glands active, that how to keep in contact with family members even in between work. This was not a system earlier. Earlier, we were having a thought that once we are inside the organization, institution, then we have to dedicate our full time to the institution. When we are away from institution, then we have to dedicate our time only for family. But then sir had very nicely, Dr. Shetty had mentioned that you have to remember family in between work as how we remember the institutional work when we are at home. Very nice. We have to take good walking, small walking, be in touch with safe spaces. This is a new term, though we know we try to be in safe spaces. We are happy in safe spaces where there are no judgmental issues. There are no judgmental expressions. But then the term I have learned now, the safe spaces, yes, we will follow it. And I think what we have learned today, we will try to imbibe it completely, and we will try to practice it. So many congratulations to the coordinator, Professor C.P. Agrawal sir, and to the session mentor. Thank you, session mentor, for giving a very informative talk today, which is helpful personally for every one of us, and also that we can share in our professional space too. Thanks to the session host, Dr. Urvashi Parmar, the technical team, who's taking all efforts to coordinate and to keep everyone connected. And that's all from me. So thank you.